All right, quick intro. I'm here at the Canon booth at WPPI. We're actually going to do some lens artistry. Going to be using the Canon EOS R3 and some RF glass, the 15 to 35 f2, the RF 28 to 70, I'm sorry, 15 to 35 f2.8, 28 to 70 f2, and the 135 1.8. And I really want to strive how you can use these lenses for artistry and the bokeh in the background at that wide open aperture. Mirrorless is a real game changer. It's almost like cheating because it could focus in so little light and focus so accurately. Way back when with the DSLR, I still have the original Canon 200 1.8. And with the DSLR, you'd have to shoot 5-10 photos to get one frame sharp. But with face head eye detection, now I can use that same classic legacy lens at 1.8 and get about 99% in focus consistency because of the accuracy of mirrorless. All right, let's get this show on the road.
All right, Bob, you ready to start?
Ready to start. Here, right? Good morning, welcome. Good morning, WPPI. Come on in, we're gonna have some fun with some Canon lenses. We got all kinds of great new toys, right? It is new toys. I'm like a kid in a candy store. Every time you come to WPPI, there's fun new stuff.
Good morning.
I want to say thank you to Canon for having me. I pinch myself all the time. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to do what I do and to share that knowledge with you guys. So that being said, I'm here for you. You know I could take a good photograph, otherwise Canon wouldn't have me up here. But we're going to go through a learning process. And what I really love to do is share how the lenses are kind of like a paintbrush for your artistry and what you can do with them. So that Canon makes all this fast glass, which is outstanding. And I'm going to be using the 15 to 35 2.8, 28 to 70 f2, and the 135 1.8. Now, ask yourself, do you need that wide open aperture? If you're a studio shooter and you're going to be shooting 5, 6, and 8 all the time, you really don't need that extra money you're going to spend on a super fast lens, right? So you could go with something in the f4, f5, 6 range. But if you're like me, you're out and about, you want to use the background for bokeh, you want to shoot in all kinds of light, that fast glass is an advantage because you have that wide open aperture and you get the buttery smooth bokeh in the background. So let's bring up the camera. I'm going to be using my EOS R3. And we're going to start off with the 28 to 70 f2. And I primarily do, there isn't much I haven't photographed, but I primarily now do big crazy weddings and events. And this is my go-to lens at the beginning of the day for the prep all the way up until we hit the dance floor. Because when we hit the dance floor, I'm lighting the dance floor and I'm going to be shooting at 5.6, 6.3. So there's no reason to kill myself with the weight of this f2. So that's when I'll switch to the 24 to 105 f4, right? Smaller, lighter, easier on my hands. But for the portraits we're going to do, we're going to go and shoot everything at f2. And I have to say, I've been doing this a long time, since manual focus, 8x10, film, everything. This is cheating. If you're starting now with mirrorless, this camera will focus in near total darkness and still find the face and the eye. Now talking about focus, no matter how good the camera is always relying on light and contrast. So if there's no light on the face, no catch light in the eye, no contrast, it's going to focus on something in the frame that is lit and have contrast. So therefore you have to know when to take it out of face head eye detection or when to take control of those focus marks. We have great light here, so it'll have no problem acquiring focus. So by default, I start every shoot with auto everything, just to see. So I'm aperture priority, f2, auto white balance, auto ISO. I don't need to be on high speed frame rate capture. And we're just gonna start off here. The light looks great, right? Except right off the bat, you guys gotta see, don't be so excited to push the button. Look at the red highlight on his nose, right? I don't want that. So thanks, MJ, just feather that light back a little bit. Yep, we want to light the side of his head, maybe use the barn door. And we want to eliminate this red highlight. Sure, you could do it in post-production, but get it right first. I don't like spending a lot of time on the back end, right? There we go. Still a little bit more. Or, very easy, MJ, you're good. I need more red on the side of his head. Yep. And could you just come up just a little bit on the chair? There we go. Because I really want to get this right in camera. So maybe straight on the side, so we eliminate this highlight. right? And when you're on a shoot at an event or in a studio, slow down, breathe, take your time, right? Those little details mean a lot, especially if you work for an editorial client, which I often do, and it goes to a picture editor or an art director. The easier you make their job, the more they'll call you. Awesome. All right, so we're gonna crank out a frame. Remember, everything's auto, let the camera think. I have it currently in full auto zone. Make sure I've got human. I don't. I have animals because I was recently photographing wildlife. So we're going to turn on people. There we go. Now it knows what face to look for, and we're good to go. So I'm going to come in 70 millimeters. Now, with everything, we have an image.
Did you take a shot?
I did. Does it matter what shutter it is? Because I've never used that. It's an electronic. I'll take another frame.
Unplug it and plug it back in. Yeah.
Fun, 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 right? Got a connection? So the reason I like to start everything in auto is that kind of becomes your baseline. And then I dial everything in manual from there. And the reason being is as you focus and recompose the frame tighter, looser, that's going to affect white balance, and that's going to affect exposure, right? But I have a vision that oh, there we go. Good. So while this is a nice shot, everything is just too even for me. So what I'll do at first is I'll check my information on the photograph. Shows our my focus points. So I'm at 500 ISO, 180th at f2, right? So quickly, I want to make sure I'm steady. These are not strobes. I shoot a lot with flash. Flash will compensate for a little bit of shakiness, right? I'm nervous, a little shaky being here. So I'm immediately going to take it out of auto ISO, and I'm going to go to 1,000, and I'm going to get out of aperture priority, go to manual, and we're going to go to 1/60th at f2. Now what I really want to do is I'm going to switch the camera quickly to spot meter because I just want the light on his face, right? Spot meter on the R3 is center weighted. It does not follow the active focus mark. So I'm just going to take a meter reading right off of his face. And I'm good, 1/60 f2, right on his face. I'm going to slightly underexpose that because it makes the colors richer. So I'm going to stay at 1/60 at f2. I'm just going to drop my ISO back to 800, and we're going to take another frame. Just getting dialed in, right? So I still want less background light, but we have wonderful bokeh in the background. And MJ, if you could zoom in just to show how critically sharp this is at f2, right on his face, right? With the DSLR, you couldn't get that frame-to-frame consistency of sharpness because DSLRs focus twice. Once on the mirror so that we could see it's in focus. When the mirror lifts up, it instantaneously focuses on the image sensor. So that's why we had micro adjustment for focus. So now, because we're always seeing right off the image sensor, what you see is pretty much what you get. All right. Do the background lights dim, or are they one setting? I'm just curious.
What's the question?
The bulbs, do they dim or are they just one set? Okay, good, no worries. All right, so I'm going to back up now. I want to get a 3/4 shot portrait. Good, good. Could you lean forward into me and turn a little bit sideways this way? Yeah. And MJ, can we bring this light right overhead? And I'm going to shoot around it. Watch, you're tethered here. Just kind of boom it like that. Yep. Right there. Come a little bit more forward, MJ. No, you're good. Just because I want to get a little bit more light in his eyes. So a little bit more this way, MJ. And twist it toward his face. Yep. Beautiful. Now lift it up just a bit. Excellent. Excellent. Good, good, good. All right. We can set that down for a second. We'll check the settings. So if at any point in time you have a question, I'm here for you, right? So, frame to frame consistency. I like the blue. We're still in auto white balance. Now I want to take control of my color palette. auto white balance, I don't know what it is. So we're going to go and exaggerate this blue. I really want this rich, rich, rich blue. Anybody familiar with Kelvin white balance? Right? Kelvin's awesome because it's precise color temperature. So I'm going to my Kelvin setting. The lower the number, the cooler the image will record. It's really going to pump up the blue. So we're going to start at 3000. Go to my Kelvin, lower it to 3000. And again, with mirrorless, what you see is what you get. We'll see it right in the viewfinder. So we'll do that same shot. Go. Very nice. Excellent. Cool. Now, we're getting bluer, right? And I want to bring up the red, right? So what we're going to do, MJ, we're going to bring these lights just closer in. Because again, they're not strobes. So I can't remotely control them, bring the power level up and down like I'm used to. There we go. So we're going to frame that. How's that look? Any spill on his face? Guys, you're my assistants. How we doing? Got any spill on the face? Oh, look at that nose. We don't want that big red highlight. Do you want that big red highlight? James is going to retouch it out, right? All right. So we're going to feather this. Good? Still there? Done. All right. All right. Very nice. Now these could go up in power. So what I want to do is create light separation between him and the background. And again, I'm used to thinking in strobes, so I could just power up the flashes. But because this is all continuous light, we now have to turn the power up on these to bring that light level down. So if we could bring these up a full stop, and that way my background ought to get darker. What's that?
That's max right
All right, we'll bring this in a little closer to the side. Yep. That way we'll get more intensity. Let me bring it over here. Still see his nose.
Yes.
There we go. Good. All right. And now we'll boom the blue light over his face. I want the blue even bluer. So I'm going to go as low as the camera could go, 2500 Kelvin. So it's going to be super blue. And MJ, if you could boom this up. Yep. And Mark, I want you to turn your head this way. Yes. And lean right into me. There you go. Now again, face, head, eye detection is on. Very nice. Very nice, right? Look how rich the colors got, right? Because I went cooler in the Kelvin. The blue really came up. We need a little bit more red on the side of his face. And the background is where I'd like it to be, right? So bring that up, a little bit more red intensity here. And then we'll be set to go. Now because I have the 28 to 70, now that I'm dialed in, how do you feel? Too blue? Not blue enough? What's your thoughts? Come on, I want some feedback here. Too blue. Too blue? Yeah, all right. We can also influence that by our picture style, right? This is reading the JPEG preview, not the actual raw file. So if I want to punch up color saturation, I could choose landscape picture style. So we're going to change the Kelvin first, go back to 3000, to warm it up a little bit. There we go. And Mark, lean forward again. I'm just eliminate and turn this way now. Yep. We still have that red on his nose. MJ on this. Yep. Can you zoom it? And boom it right over. Yep. There we go. Good. Now just up slightly because it's in my frame. I don't want it in the frame. There we go. Look left, Mark. Look right. Glance your chin up a little bit so I can get some catch lights toward the light up here. And turn your chin toward, yeah. That's really nice, really nice. I like that, I like that. Good, good. Change it up, do a horizontal. Excellent. I like that. And I'm going to come in for my close-up and just glance downward. Now bring your eyes to me, please. Wow, wow, excellent. Look at that, right? You have all this control right in camera. right? And the consistency of the sharpness of the lens is still to this day. I've been using this camera since it comes out. It blows me away and I get excited, right? So let's switch up the lens.
What do you want?
I'll do the 15 to 35 first. And when I'm on a shoot, I like to shoot wide and do the session of the set. It's kind of a good frame recording. We're going to do that. And for the heck of it, even though I'm shooting RAW plus JPEG, so I still retain all of my RAW information, I'm now having a vision of black and white. So I have a custom preset in my picture styles for black and white, and I've added red in because it brings out flesh tones, but I don't know how that red's going to work since we're using red gels. It might accentuate it too much, but it should be great. So that's just a nice pensive pose, right? So let's try that again. Yep. Very cool. I like seeing the whole set. There you go.
Get that red off his nose.
Yep. Thanks. I like seeing all the guys right in there working the set, right? We need a little bit more light on his face. So MJ, can we turn this power up?
Yeah.
Because black and white, now all of a sudden you notice it got contrasting and a little darker. I didn't change my other settings at all, right? That's just the nature of black and white. And oh, you're seeing the raw, okay, because I'm seeing black and white on the back of my camera. And I'm seeing black and white in my viewfinder because remember, what you see is what you get. I love that because sometimes my imagination starts going black and white, right? Like that. Good, good, good. Looking right toward me. And I'm at 2.8, right? 15 millimeters, 2.8. I'm gonna come right here. We're gonna go out platon, right? Eyes up, chin up a little bit more, right? There we go. Eric, just lean back a little bit, please. No, Mark, you're good. Want it, Eric. Yep. Lean forward, and eyes up toward the light. Right? Now, whoop, I came undone. Now, it's like platon, right? Oh, can we go full frame, MJ? But look at the sharpness. I'm staying wide open. Face, head, eye detection. Now, I also customize my camera and program the buttons. So my AF on button, if I push it in, cycles through my focus preferences. So there's sometimes when we're in really low light, I want to narrow the camera's parameters for focus. So I have a precision single point. I push it again. I go to 5. I push it again. And I go to the entire frame to let the camera decide on what to focus. So if you're at an event, anybody shoot weddings? Yeah? So if you're at a wedding and you want to do what we call the Hail Mary shot, right? They're dancing on the dance floor, crazy, going fun, right? Now you could articulate the screen so you're not even guessing, but you want an elevated shot. And I love this with the 15 to 35, right? I could see what's going on. If I let the camera choose in that situation, excuse me, oftentimes the subjects are in a shadowy light like her, and we have bright blinking lights in the background. Well, in that situation, I want to narrow where the camera's looking for focus. That's when I'll go to those 5 focus marks, and I could see it with my thumb, put it right on my subject, and shoot. So right now, I swear I'm at 100% in focus at a wedding. Doesn't mean they're all good, but at least it's 100% in focus. Never had that capability before. It's crazy, crazy cool. All right, whoa, center frame. So do we have the 135? Switch up.
Red.
Thank you. Now, this lens is fast, it's light, has image stabilization, crazy sharp, getting dry. Now we're going to, of course, use it at 1.8. There we go. We're going to keep everything else the same. And MJ, let's bring the light right over. And we should see a difference. We'll have MJ pull up the very first frame, and then with the 135, because it was 70 at f2, this is 135 at 1.8. So a little bit higher, MJ. Just want to get it out of the frame. Good, beautiful. going to come over here. And then, there you go. Mark, turn toward me. And let me see eyes right down the lens. Beautiful. So MJ, let's compare those to the first frame where we were at 70 millimeters, f2 versus 135. But again, look at the consistent sharpness, right? I've never been able to attain that with autofocus with a DSLR. And combined, the lenses are faster and lighter, more accurate, need less light to compose the shot. Any questions so far? No? Everybody switching to RF? Are you staying with EF? Are you in the process? In the process, right? Yeah. What's nice though is legacy lenses have never worked better. I have a 30-plus-year-old 200 1.8 lens. No IS, very slow to focus. I used to use it for sports. So now I use it for portraits and sessions because it has just a beautiful bokeh effect. On a DSLR, with my 1DX Mark III, I swear I'd have to take 10 frames to get one sharp at 1.8. Even with the first EOS R, I took that lens out and now fell in love with it again because with the mirrorless, it's focusing right off the image sensor and I had frame-to-frame consistency. Now, it is slower in acquiring focus. The communication is slower, and that's why I love, for the same effect, the 135 1.8, because we could put a 1.4 extender on it, and there you go, you're right back at that 200 f2, 2.5 in that range, right? But it's lighter, sharper, and more accurate frame-to-frame consistency. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, there we go. Yeah, look at all three lenses. So look at the differences in the bokeh, but every one of them is sharp, right? And does it do a global zoom in, MJ? I mean, I still get excited when I see this. When you come back from a long day and a long session in challenging lighting situations, that you can literally be, once you understand the gear and how autofocus works, you also can achieve 100% focus, right? It's just mind-blowing to me. All zoomed in, look at that, right? Just incredible. Now, I have been at a session with our neighbors across the way, and we were doing a session, and not knocking it, I'm just trying to illustrate the difference. We were in a ballroom, the lights are down low, we're shooting strobes, shooting a model, face detection. It's like, wait a minute, can you bring the house lights up so my camera will focus? The R3, no problem. Seriously. If there's a hint, and what I look for is see the highlight in his eye. If the camera won't find it, that's why I hit the AF on button and I could go to single focus point. Now I'm telling it where to look for focus. And then it's accurate 100% of the time. Right? So it's just outstanding. So let's try, we're going to change this up. Can we unplug those for a second?
Turn the lights off.
Off.
Off. On the left, Gary. Yeah.
Now, don't get mad at me. Or wait, don't turn them off yet. Wait 1 second, Eric. Eric, 1 second. Sorry. Now, I'm really going to mess up this beautiful lens, right? I've been talking about sharpness. I've been talking about all this. A lot of times, some of our brides are like, it's too sharp. My wife will say that. It's too much. I want something a little bit more dreamier, right? So there's no reason we can't do in-camera softening. There's a Pro Mist filter by Tiffin, which is great if you want to use it. Now, I'm going to make the camera struggle to focus. So now I'm not going to do the whole field of view, but I will refine it down to those 5 or single focus points. But I'm going to try first to see if the camera will acquire a phase through this. Now this is going to soften I'm going to get my color back. Soften everything in the background. And MJ will boom that light back over again, please. And head up a little. There you go. Oh, it's going right to his eye. Still through the soft focus. Now I'm going to pull it a little tighter in the center so I could get a little bit sharper on one spot, a little softer on the other. And I'm now going to put him off center. Yeah, nice, looking up. That's great. And I'm going to back up, get a few more bokeh balls in there. And now we've got this nice, soft focus look, right? It's just something fun and different. So now let's switch it lens really quick. I'll take the 28 to 70.
All right.
And I do this a lot during bridal prep because, you know, makeup going on, the room is messy. You just want something a little bit more artsy at times. And I'll just set it at 50 millimeter. Again, all of our settings are staying the same. Just grab a glass, right? John Russo, Hollywood photographer, does this a lot for portraits. So, MJ, oh, there we go, Greg. Whoop, sorry. We'll boom that light over, good. Now we're going a little bit wider. Let's bring that light up, please. Now I'm going to cover part of the lens with it. Get back to my 50 millimeters. And I'm going to put him in the right third. Oh, that's nice, looking back toward me. Good, good. I'm moving the glass around. There we go. And it's just something a little bit more creative, just a little bit different, right? You don't need to go to Amazon and buy these $100 crystals to shoot through. Just pick up a glass, even if you have liquid in it, it does it even a little bit more different. Or if you're at an event, there's candles, kind of photograph through the candles, get that bokeh, right? Let's get a little bit better. Is there one with a better expression, MJ? There we go. That's cool. You guys like that? Yeah? Right? So a little bit different, right? Think outside the box. Even though we have these crazy sharp lenses, sometimes for certain clients, they're too sharp, right? So I do have a Pro Mist filter for older women of a certain age, right? Because it makes my wife's job, who does the retouching, easier. And we overexpose a little bit to get away from those fine lines in their face, right? And it minimizes the amount of work you have to do on the back end, right? It's dry here. All right, now let's try killing the lights in the background. And then we're going to turn the red lights all onto the background. We're going to flood the background with red. So before I go to another idea, let's play art director. You guys are my art director. I'm the photographer. Who has an idea you want to try, you want to see? Anybody? No? You didn't have your morning coffee out at the party too late last night? No excuse. Come on, we got to make a shot. Anybody got an idea? Not yet? Nothing coming? No? All right. We'll do it. Also, just as a hint, if you didn't have a blue gel for this front light, we could still create blue by doing cross color. So if we could put this in daylight, and again, go into Kelvin and lower our Kelvin, so anything that's in a daylight white balance will render blue. Oftentimes I'll do that on a session very quickly because I don't have time to put gels on all the lights. So like, oh, wait a second, that's daylight. I'm just going to change the white balance in camera. Because it's raw, you still have infinite possibilities of adjusting that color in post. If it's JPEG, then the cake has been baked and it's very limited on what you could do for exposure color correction. So I don't shoot JPEG anymore. If you need a JPEG for speed, there is software readily available that you can extract the JPEG preview from the raw file, and it's about a 4 to 6 megabyte JPEG preview that you could send out for social, send it to your phone, use Canon Connect, anything like that. So you don't really need to shoot JPEG plus RAW, or vice versa. You could do RAW. Right? It's a great workflow. All right. So let's just bring that up front. Yep. You don't have to worry about booming it. I want it straight. Like I'm going to shoot through it here. We'll get the highlight in his eyes. Yep. Very good. Love that. Now, I'm going to go wider, 28. Again, I want to see this set. There we go. Good. It's looking good in camera. Looking good. Oh, nice and rich, right? Now, is there, with this tethering, we can't see my viewfinder, right? Okay, I'll just share with you. So, when I meter this right now through the camera, it's telling me I'm about 3 stops underexposed, right? So think about this when you're shooting. Again, what you see is what you get. So that's very helpful. But go for the tones that you want to expose for, right? So we don't need any more information. I want you to go to his face. I'm not so much worried about the shadow in his body. This is what I kind of call pre-touching instead of retouching. Now, if I go to where the camera says to meter, so in this certain shot, I'm now going to expose for what the camera is saying. It's going to have a totally different feel and look, right? That's what another thing that I love about mirrorless is we can actually see that. We're not guessing. We're not having to take a shot, review, check your histogram, right? I can actually dial it in exactly how I want to see it here. And again, not that I use RAW as a crutch, you do have the latitude that RAW offers. But don't fall into the category of shooting too far to the right. A lot of people say that. Shoot 1, 2 stops to the right. When the highlights are gone, the highlights are gone. There's only so much latitude on that side. So if you understand your histogram, you want information from left to right and then build off of that. So I'm going to go back down. We're going to come in closer shot. And now I'm going to get the look that I want. So I'm trying to stay away from that speaker. Beautiful. A little bit more. That's nice, looking straight into this light. Good. I want to get rid of that background. Excellent. And if I could switch to the 135 again, right? Very nice and moody, right? Now I could review it here. It doesn't come up.
No, it doesn't come up.
Okay.
I have to.
Yeah, no worries. All good. And then we'll try the same thing, shooting right through the light. And just bring your eyes right to me, right down the lens. There you go. Now I'm letting the camera choose. Good, good, good. And we're going to go to the right. Good. Now for a couple, Greg, can we take the gel off of this? We'll get some normal light, some white light. Because if I was shooting this for an assignment, I wouldn't do everything gel, because not all editors would enjoy the flesh tone being so blue. All right, so we're just going to take the same settings and see where we're at, right? Brings out his blue eyes, still very good. Now, why is it still blue? My white balance, my Kelvin, right? Exactly. So I know that daylight is 5200, so I'm going for 3000 to 5200. But that shows you also that you have this capability in camera of doing color correction and color creativity. Right? There we go. Really nice. I like that look. It's 135, so I just want to compress that background. I want to keep his hands in it. Beautiful. Awesome. Oh, yeah, these are more my favorite than the blue face, right? Dig that. Very nice. And I love the background that this lens provides, right? Lightweight. So let's do an extreme close-up. Come right here. Now, because he has the highlight on his nose, when I'm letting the camera go full focus, it's jumping there first, taking a second, and finding the eye. I get excited when I'm shooting. I don't want to capture when his nose is in focus at 1.8 because the eyes will be soft, okay? I'm going to hit my AF on button, and I'm going to go to single focus mark. Because now I could put it exactly on his closest eye to me every time. And then we'll have MJ zoom in on this, and you'll see at 1.8, the second eye is soft, right? So when you're using these lenses, and I know a lot of people love to shoot wide open, think about it. So I wouldn't only take a creative shot with this narrow depth of field for me to show this amazing bokeh and artistry of the lens. I would also now jump up to 6.3. I love aperture 6.3, that's nose to ears in focus, pretty much across all the longer focal lengths, from 50 out to like 135. So here's another neat trick. Instead of having to change everything, so I'm at 1.8. To get to 6.3, count the clicks. So my aperture 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. right? Left, side left. Now just take your ISO up a left. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You don't have to figure out that look again. Right? You have the same exposure. Well, now, you got that eye focus now coming closer. Alright, and then MJ will check that out. Now, primarily, that's where you live in that space in the studio, you're shooting at those apertures, then why spend all that money on this 135, 180, right? Another lens might serve you better, like maybe the 70 to 200 f4. You don't need it. But we have amazing sharpness on both eyes. So think about that. Yeah. Same light, same exposure. Count your clicks. I do that on wildlife. And sometimes when I'm doing a portrait of an animal, we have more depth of field and a slower shutter speed. But then you have to get ready for the action. So I always want to be at 2,000th of a second. So if I go down to 125th, I just count the clicks instead of trying to figure out my metering for that look again. Right? So I immediately get my shutter speed up and I change the ISO. 3 clicks up, 3 clicks down. You're saving exposure either way instead of trying to meter it and get your look back again. I just find it faster and more useful. You do a little bit. The bokeh, like if we get a light bulb, we can turn the light bulb back on for this one, right? They're not as muted and soft and diffused. So we'll show that now. They're a little bit more pronounced. They're still going to be softer focus just because of natural depth of field, meaning how close the subject is, the focal length of the lens, and compression. So we put the lights on. We're at 6.3. I'm going to take one frame at 6.3. Now I'm going to go back to 1.8. And then MJ can pull the two out. Right? There's a big difference. So if you really need the bokeh, 3.5, Larry is second shooter working right around with her. 3.5, we agree, like we're using the 70 to 200, gives you just great bokeh all the time with the 70 to 200. So a lot of times we're in that range, 70 to 200, but at 70 to 200, when you're looking for a nice bokeh, 3.5 gives it that, you know, and then you're not blowing 2 eyes out of focus, right? Oh, there you go. You can see it zoomed in. And you can see when it's wide open, it's more diffused, which I love. So lenses are like paintbrushes for me, right? I pull out these different lenses to help achieve the vision I have in my imagination. But what is, I think, that we're successful with editorial clients is I don't stay in just my one vision. I then give them the variety. That their vision for the magazine might be, we need room for type, we want that background sharper. Or if they are going to lay text over it and it's part of the story, then they want that background blurred. So I give options all the time. And, you know, knock on wood, we can call it back. And again, the easier you can make the job, meaning, let's say you're shooting, they want immediate delivery, right? You don't have time to edit your raw files and you call them. Yeah, just imagine if there wasn't a red highlight on his nose. The shredder's not going to do that, right? They're going to go to the next guy who delivers what they need right now, because they're always on yesterday. I need it yesterday. I need it now. So this sounds bad, but I mean it in a good way. Speed trumps quality. What I mean by that is you do everything you can to get it right at the point of capture, instead of waiting 10 days to deliver an image because you need to make it perfect. They're going to go to the next guy next time. Because whenever they call you for an assignment, guaranteed they need it last minute. I've never had someone give me a week lead time, ever. We did an assignment recently, and this client wanted snow and a winter scene. It was a Friday, magazine wanted it Monday. So we had to find an effects company, pull out lighting, hair, makeup, wardrobe in that short period of time. And we did. But that's stressful. So again, with that client, they took the right out of camera file and went to press with it, right? Because we were able to deliver it Friday night during the shoot. Was the beginning of the shoot. So it's very helpful. Any questions? Thoughts? You got the next speaker coming on, so hang out. Yeah? No? All good? You could go home and do this, right? Confident? Awesome. Very good.